Welcome to Intentionality with Dominique, the show that helps business owners become valued and in-demand suppliers in the marketplace to scale their businesses. Let's start today's show with host and intentional connector, Dominique Simpson Milton.
Intentionality with Dominique is designed to spotlight successful entrepreneurs, those who've made it past the critical 10-year mark and have valuable insight to share. Their journeys offer lessons that can help less experienced business owners avoid common pitfalls and grow stronger, faster. Because the more businesses that we help survive, the stronger our economy becomes. We also feature corporate leaders who have been intentional in opening doors of opportunity for diverse suppliers and small business owners. Today, we're spotlighting Alex Moore, Senior Partner of Stratagon. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Always good to talk to you, Alex. Alex, Stratagon has been in business for more than 20 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How did you get into this business and what inspired you to start down this path?
That's a very interesting question. Unfortunately, it's probably not as intentional as the your word of the year. However, it really became, I came through the sort of the lens of helping a small business. I was very much gainfully employed in a traditional corporate environment and had an opportunity to engage with a small business with my now co-founder, Ryan Burkett. And we were simply helping out a small business with some of the knowledge that we had gained through our own life lived experiences, formal education, where we met in graduate school, as well as the time that we did in corporate America. And that olive branch, if you will. I say olive branch because it wasn't free, but it was pretty close to it in hindsight. But that led to the creation of Stratagon, and everything else was history since then.
So did you have the experiences to run the business before you started? Were you adept in marketing and technology beforehand, or did you grow into it?
Certainly, yes. I mean, I had close to 13 years, 14 years, something like that, experience in a large enterprise environment, working across marketing and technology disciplines, everything from product management through to things like CRM implementations and very global web management experiences. I also had the fortunate upbringing of being a part of a small business with my parents. My mom ran a very successful restaurant and catering business, and really went back prior to the restaurant and catering. She baked cakes, and I really had a first party seat to that. So the notion of entrepreneurship and small business, while it wasn't necessarily on my radar that's what I really wanted to do, inherently it's, in hindsight now, it's something I've always done. It just wasn't done through the purpose of it being my primary source of income. I'm happy that it has become that, but I definitely had some of those experiences which were very helpful to what I do today.
Good. I asked that question because our viewers need to understand that, when you're starting a business, you need to do something that you understand. Don't jump off into something that's totally foreign to you, because having a business and running a business is hard enough. But so you need to make sure that you understand with your eyes closed how that the technology or the skills behind what you're about to launch. So let's get into let's get into what your business actually does. Your firm provides marketing and technology services that help clients grow more efficiently. What makes your approach unique, and how do you help businesses tell better stories to their customers?
Every business is unique within itself, and I think it's fair to make sure that that's understood, because there is no cookie cutter approach to what we do. Fundamentally, we still are a very people-centric organization. And those people are who makes the difference in what we do with our clients. We definitely have a core suite of tools that we use that are tried and true, that are oftentimes commercially available. But then you have to customize and shape the solution to the needs of the client. Our clients come across a couple different verticals. One of the more popular, and I think verticals that a lot of people understand, would be something like higher education, where we've all either been a student, or perhaps you are parent and have a student you have been marketed to. That's by way of those universities that want your student to come and spend at least 2 to 4 years of their life there. There's a lot of design work. There's a lot of copy work. And then there's a lot of think about how you distribute messages across various channels, be it mail, be it email, text messaging, online ads. We work with universities to do that kind of work. And what we have found is there are some niches that within the higher education space, such as the HBCU market, where we have gotten really good at understanding their target audiences, the challenges, and we elevate them to help those universities essentially attract more students and increase their overall yield. You can also pivot that into a more for-profit world, and ultimately, we see a lot of work in 2025 and beyond that's around how do I align my sales teams with my marketing teams to get the most out of that effort. And our, secret sauce, if you will, or at least one of the things we're leaning heavy into is data and intelligence so that you are as informed as you can as a business leader, be it a sales function or a marketing function, to get the most out of those efforts, financial efforts, or just human capital return on investment.
That's good. I love that you have vertical expertise. You said HBCUs. I know you didn't say it, but I know you have expertise in agriculture. So having those areas of expertise really helps you to resonate with the customer, right? And take it to a deeper level. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's very good. So when should somebody call you? So our listeners are like, okay, I understand they're doing marketing, they're doing data, but when should they call you? What specific need, if the problem that they're having is just say, oh, let me pick up the phone and call Stratagon?
So it's a great question. A lot of times people will call us because they have a specific need. Oftentimes they'll say, hey, I need a website, or I think I need one, or a website isn't performing well for me, however they define performance. We oftentimes start the conversation there. Someone may say, hey, I need a CRM system. I need a place to get out messages by way of a marketing automation tool, meaning, how do I automate certain marketing messages? Typically email is the starting point for that. So oftentimes they'll come, but underneath that request, there's a real business need. And we work hard to understand, what are we really trying to accomplish? What's the problem that's being solved? So I would say that, if you are a business leader at any level, large enterprise or small, emerging business, small business, and you know that you need to get more effectiveness out of your business, marketing, sales operations, there's a good chance that we either can help you with that or provide you, access to someone else in our network that could help you with that. But a lot of times it does usually start with some type of point solution, even advertising. Hey, I want to, start an advertising campaign because I need to either generate new leads or I need to accelerate the pipeline. A lot of the businesses we work for are business in nature, and they have fairly long purchase cycles. And you think about larger purchases that their customers may be having, it tends to be purchased by committee. So you need to influence multiple people within an enterprise to make that happen. We've got some very unique techniques that are very account centric that helps clients navigate that. So sometimes our phone rings for those type of things as well.
Good. Well, let's stay on that for a little bit because I know that you're a specialist in HubSpot. You're a platinum HubSpot partner, and a lot of your services are built around that ecosystem. Why is HubSpot such a powerful platform for sales, marketing, and service excellence?
Yeah, I always offer go out, do your own research. HubSpot is one of the leading marketing automations platforms, at least that's where it started. And now we would call it more of a customer platform. Look at the Gartner Matrix. Gartner is one of the leading, rating companies in the industry, and you're going to see HubSpot in the top right quadrant. And it continues to be a leader. So one of the kind of really nice things about HubSpot today and the industry at large is that this whole elephant in the room around artificial intelligence or AI has come to bear. And if you kind of cut out the noise of artificial intelligence and get down to practical uses today, and I'll also asterisk that and say that it's moving very, very fast. So whatever I say today maybe needs to be tweaked a little bit tomorrow or maybe next week.
Yes.
But HubSpot provides like a kind of a core foundation that you can begin to build real business operations into and leverage the best of AI that's real practical today. The other thing is that HubSpot may not be the one all be all for you, but it has really good interoperability, which basically means that you can move data between it and other systems very well. And they've built out a really nice infrastructure to allow that. So we see it as kind of like, look, if you've got a business and you've got a building, you need electricity in it. You're not going to run the business without electricity. HubSpot or something like it. I'll also really advocate for small businesses. You don't have to make HubSpot your tool, but if not it, you need something else like it that's centralizing all of your customer data independent of where they are in the sales cycle, a prospect that you don't know or a customer that you hope loves you, centralizing that information is going to allow you to leverage the best in breed around data and market intelligence to ensure you can keep that customer and grow them, or you're more successful in landing the ones that you want to acquire.
That's good. Using technology for velocity is what I call it, making sure that you tie in the technological tools around you so that you're working smarter versus harder. So
Absolutely.
given that, what trends are you seeing, Alex, in the marketing and technology space right now, especially with the rise of AI? I know you always say what I tell you today is not going to necessarily be true tomorrow because it's moving so fast, but how should businesses be preparing to adapt to these changes with AI?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a broken record, honestly, but getting your data centralized, it's really a key thing. If you're still operating out of spreadsheets and you're operating out of Gmail and Outlook solely, and you don't have a centralized place to see it all, then you don't have a centralized place to analyze it all. And just like, the next staffer that you hire can't do that, no AI can do it either. So I would say, lean into understanding your business through the data and the metrics, which honestly is true. Even if you go 20 years ago and we talk about things like financial metrics, there's the ability to manage your business through those financial numbers. You would be hard pressed to do that without some type of system today. The same thing is true in these areas. So I would say lean into that. Some of the trends that we're seeing, though, we're seeing the use of agents a lot more. Agents are getting better. I think for a long time, a lot of people couldn't fathom the thought of something that's driven by, in this case, artificial intelligence that we call agents are actually doing tasks that used to be reserved for a human. And I don't say that to replace a human. I want to be really clear about that. Doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. However, we hope that what you're enabling is the human to do more humanized things and agents to do things that are much more transactional and don't add a lot of value to the job that you may have had a human do before. So agent development is something we're seeing a lot of, as well as assistant development. So think about agents as something that the customer sees on the outside, where assistance is something that is assisting your sales team or assisting your marketing team more through internal tasks. And both of them can be very, very powerful. But if you can begin to understand your business processes and what you're trying to accomplish, and then also know that you've got a really solid data set, you do some pretty powerful things. And I suspect have a huge impact on your overall profitability and bottom line.
Excellent. So let's talk about entrepreneurial operating systems. I know you use one. A lot of people have no clue what that is, but most of our successful business owners are using some model that is similar to that EOS system to really catapult their business. So can you explain what that type of model is and how it can help you 10 times your business?
Yeah. I won't go through all the nuances of EOS. However, EOS stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. There are others out there. I believe another one I'll mention is Scale Up. I don't know that one, but I know that there are at least a handful of them. And again, much like the HubSpot discussion, you don't have to use EOS. We're not necessarily a champion for it, but we do know that having a system that you can use not only to operate the business for yourself as an owner, but also to transition to your teams so that they can understand what's the rhythm of the business. And that goes everywhere from how you hire and fire to what are the week-to-week metrics to how you run a meeting every day, or in this case, once a week for us. And that's called a level 10 meeting, just to give a soundbite. But the EOS framework really does help to normalize operations in the business, and really, really important when you think about a business that's growing and trying to scale. It's really tough to scale on your own. And this is where getting your teammates in place and aligned to the EOS, in this case, model is very, very helpful for them understanding the key metrics that are running the business and what's the basic rhythm for how business is done. So we've been on the EOS world for about 3 years now. I think I'm accurate in that. And it's been very transformative for our business.
That's good. And what's important for our viewers to understand is that if it's not EOS, as you said, there are other systems out there, but the key is having some type of formalized system that you lean into so that you understand all the metrics of your business. So you're not operating blindly. A lot of people just operate blindly, which leads me to my next question, which my favorite question is the importance of working on your business versus in your business. What does that mean to you, and how has it helped Stratagon grow and scale?
Yeah, it's interesting. That's one that we hear a lot of. And, I would say that like life, businesses have seasons as well. it would not be accurate if I were to tell you that 100% of the time, I'm here working on the business. That is a destination for me. I do spend a lot of time working on the business, but there's occasional ebbs and flows where I get pulled to being, in the business too. Fundamentally, though, working on the business is going to allow you extra velocity to scale and free yourself from day-to-day activities. I think that when you think about entrepreneurships, there's several different sort of categories. And I think it's important that if you find yourself only working in the business, you may ask yourself, are you like a business owner or are you self-employed? I think it's a real, delineation between that, because it's definitely feasible to see yourself as an owner and never work in the business at all, right? It's 100% on the business. And if you have multiple businesses, which a lot of entrepreneurs do, like myself, I can't be in all of them. So finding out, what is the system, what's the key metrics, what are the people that you need around you so that you can work on the business versus in it is really the destination. I think just keeping that top of mind is important. And if you do that, you'll likely find your way.
That's good. Thank you so much. As an entrepreneur, Alex, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned about leadership and building a team?
I don't need to be the smartest person in the room, for sure. I don't want to be. Getting good people around you is tremendously important. I oftentimes tell my team and our customers that, look, we're a people-centric business. Like, we are in the people business. Human capital is what we do. And it's hard. It's hard to do that. So, making sure that you have the ability to be very critical about who you hire and very clear about what you need them to do. These are things that are just extremely important in terms of, what I've learned. I think I continue to learn people. In aggregate, the people of today are a little different than the people pre-COVID. For example, how people move, how they expect to balance work. What does life mean to them? What does work mean to them? All these things begin to matter, and it's changed. So I think as a leader, I have to continue to develop and understand how to get the most out of people and create like an environment that they want to be in, that adds value to their life, their community, as well as, the clients that we serve.
I'm glad you said that, because as we have to create great teams, we have to work with the whole person, right? So it's not just when you're in the office 9 to 5, 8 to 4, whatever it is, but you're dealing with the whole person and putting those people in the right positions to maximize their potential. So that's important. So Alex, looking back over when you started the business and lessons learned, what would you say you would do differently than you if you know what you know now? How would you go back and do things different?
I don't know if I would say it's different, or is it maybe at a different stage. Processes and documentation of what we do for higher levels of repeatability is something I would have leaned into many years prior. I think that people oftentimes get into business because they are good at something. And we saw this, our target market today is not necessarily like the startup small business. It tends to be more mid-market to enterprise, unless it's a heavily funded small business. Then yeah, we're good there too. But it's not. But we did for a long time. I mean, mom and pop type shops, right? And I love to do it. Like, my heart loves to do it. It's just hard for us to get the value balance in place between cost and output to do that. But what we found is a lot of small businesses that they got into doing whatever it is they did because they just love doing that task. They didn't really love running the business. And things like creating repeatable processes were not top of mind because they were working in the business themselves. And that was very satisfying to them. I will tell you that while we didn't necessarily have that lens, we wanted to always scale. Don't think we thought through repeatable processes enough early on, particularly around service delivery. Now, we definitely had repeatable processes in terms of like accounting and finance and sales and marketing. But when we thought about the products that we were developing or the services that we were developing, how could we do that with higher levels of efficiency and higher levels of scale and repeatability? Like, that's really where it's at when you start getting into the real mechanics of, hey, do I have a business and a system that either one scales for me, or two can be sold such that it has value on the marketplace? Because if you decide that, exiting is your destination, whoever the purchaser is, they want to know what they're buying. And when you as the owner leaves, and if you're the stickiness, you're the glue, you're not there, then there's not much of a business there. So, we have definitely leaned into that heavily. in the last, 5 to 6 years. But if I could have done it 5 to 6 years prior, that would have been ideal.
Would help you grow even faster than what you've done.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. We're going to close with your favorite word. You told me your favorite word is optimization. How does that show up in your leadership and in the way in which you help clients achieve greater impact?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, optimization, first of all, sounds very esoteric a little bit. It doesn't sound very warm. But I think, I'm trying to constantly get better. When I think about what does optimization fundamentally mean, because I needed one word versus get better. I mean, there is this notion of continuous improvement. And for me, that's what it's all about. And that continuous improvement, it lands on me in terms of how I show up as a human. It lands on the organization at large in terms of how we do what we do. Are we being as efficient as we can? Are we thinking about how we improve a process? Are we thinking about something that we didn't use AI for yesterday that we should be using it for today or maybe even tomorrow? And then when we think about our clients, how do we make them better? Our clients are expecting us to be good stewards of their budgets and the time that we spend on their accounts, and really leaning into that is something that we think heavily about. And then also, how can we be a greater benefit to our communities? If we can optimize all those things that we mentioned there, we'll be a better benefit to our community. We kind of have 3 C's here that we go by. It's about our colleagues, our clients, and our communities. If we treat the clients, our colleagues really, really, really well, they're going to show up well for our clients. And if that happens, we'll have a profitable business that we can go reinvest back into our community. So those things really align quite well. And I want to optimize across all of them so we can be better every day.
That is excellent. The 3 C's. Okay. Thank you for dropping that wisdom for us today. You've been extremely successful. I think I met you about almost 30 years. Don't say it. Don't say it.
It was too long.
It was a long time ago, but you've stood the test of time. So thank you so much, Alex, for being here. Appreciate having you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. Love the work that you do and appreciate everything you do for the small business community.
Thank you so much. So if you'd like to learn more about how Stratagon can support your business with marketing and technology solutions, please visit www.stratagon.com. That's STRATAGON.com. Well, that concludes today's special episode of Intentionality. Be sure to join me for our next episode, and remember that we must always remain intentional to gain knowledge, skills, and connections so we can grow and thrive in business together. I'm Dominique Simpson Milton, and I will see you next time.
This has been another episode of Intentionality with Dominique, brought to you by the CVMSDC. For more information, please visit cvmsdc.org.